that. The emotions, I'm sure, are still very, very high for somebody such as yourself with such a long history and memory of the old days. Just try and put in a nutshell, how important was that win on Wednesday night?
I don't think so that words can express. Emotion is the greatest thing in the world, and fortunately for us, that emotion was expressed at Olympics at Telstra Stadium in front of 20 million people. I mean, you have 83,000 people in a stadium, but I'm sure that 20 million people, the rest of Australia, was with the Socceroos. And if you give gift to the nation, as Socceroos gave on Wednesday night, what a way to give a great gift. And if you would write the script about shootout, you wouldn't write better script, and you would not imagine, but what attention on the people who are watching the game kick by kick. And when Viduka missed, everybody said not again, but may God help. It's an unbelievable feeling. It's a most spectacular evening I have ever experienced. I never experienced anything as such. I thought that MCG was always to stay in my memory, because we traveled from St Kilda on a bus. Then we saw hundreds of people in green and gold, Aussies. Then we walk in a stadium with Rolls Royces being driven around, and great privilege. And I never compared anything with it. But I think on Wednesday night, this occasion was much more Australian, not because we won, celebration of the nation. It's absolutely phenomenal experience.
I think the timing of the victory as well, with obviously the new Federation of Australia, Federation, the new A-League, moving to Asia, it couldn't really come at a better time, because the football needed a boost at this time, and it received it at just the right time. So the timing is perfect for football, isn't it?
Look, you can't deny success. Anybody who tries to deny success, it gets it wrong. Frank Lowy had a vision, and he went for trifecta. He got trifecta. It is sensational. It's just unbelievable for a man at his age. I think Frank Lowy would probably feel that he conquered something, as well as Westfield Empire, that this is probably equivalent to that. And I tell you, no money can match that. If you ask Frank Lowy, I don't think so that money can match this success that he has achieved. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic for him too.
Yeah. Okay, and with the speed rolling, it's all yours.
Now, obviously, nobody can ever take away your achievements with football in this country, and what you achieved in '74 with the guys. However, you've carried that around with you for a long time. It's been the last team to get there for Australia. How does it feel now that you're no longer the last team? We now have another Australian team. Does that fill you with a bit of sadness or pride, a mixture? How do you feel?
There is no mixture about it. There is only pride and honor. If we did that on 8 other occasions, we all would be celebrating. Every time you pick up the papers would be 2 pages, 4 pages, or 8 pages like yesterday. I must say something as a professional person. Goose has done something so remarkable, and put the unhappy unit into very formidable, very respectful unit, who play for each other, follow his instructions. And for example, Harry Kuehl in the past did not play. All of us kept saying that Harry Kuehl's place is on the left flank. And Harry never moved anywhere out of the left flank. And nightmare for Doigo, who plays for Real Madrid, was Harry Kuehl. And then again, Harry Kuehl taking first penalty. I think that young man has taken, he was criticized heavily, no doubt. But on Wednesday night, he recovered for everything that he did wrong in the past, so-called. Finally, whose masterstroke move when he took Popovic off and bring Harry Kuehl. And minutes later, we are 1-0 up. And then his approach to the game in the second half has been a most dominant than any international match that we played against any opponent. opponents. Unfortunately, the goal second goal never comes when you are pressurizing. So many free kicks, so many corner kicks, and someone just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Mr. Rasic, could we borrow Recoba for a few free kicks and corner kicks?" And I thought it was a bit of humor by Australians on that occasion. And you could not, if anybody would show bitterness or anything, I would regard it really very unfair. This is my country, this is my honor, and no one in the world could give better gift to the country than Frank Lowy and Guus Hiddink. I mean, you have to congratulate both men what they have done. It's remarkable.
Now, of course, Holland is a country which has never actually won a World Cup. However, it's a country which has made a couple of finals, and they've always been fantastic performers in terms of tactical awareness and the way they play the game. Is this what we were missing here in Australia? Do we need to learn, to use a common phrase, the total football? Every player is an attacker and a defender, that we all play as a team, and we're not stuck in rigid roles. Is that what we need to be liberated from the old rigid 4-4-2 formation? Is that what we were missing?
I think that the personal ideas that you pay big dollar for has shown everything that you are saying. But we in past didn't have a courage to bring people, big name coaches into this country to do something which was so necessary to be done over past 32 years. Jimmy Shoulder, Brian Green, Rudy Goodendorf, many others, just good visitors, good tourists, but we needed someone like Guus, who is no-nonsense man and who knows exactly what he is doing, who respects his people, gives everything himself and asks everything from each individual. I think that's the most positive step ever undertaken. Everybody feared, including myself, that this short period of time for him, but only great person like him could do impossible. And you know that definition of impossible is something that nobody can do until someone does it. That's Guus Hiddink, and you can't take away from the man. Congratulations, fantastic job.
Now, the Dutch must be doing something right. There are no less than 4 coaches coaching World Cup out of the 16. That's 25%. Well, sorry, it's 12.5% of the teams are actually there, but 4 teams out of the 32 are coached by Dutchmen. What do they put in the water in Holland? Well, why do they make such good coaches?
World Cup 1974 out of 16 had 3 Yugoslav coaches, and that's how football is changing. Dutch have formula, and Dutch are very arrogant in their approach. They don't back off. They are very disciplined nation, very cultured nation, which is very, very important. Guus is very much a world person. He's a global person, speaks, he's a multilingual. He can express that in the same manner as Bora Milutinovic does. And these are unique people. You don't get these people every day. And he belongs to this class of special people, like, as I said, Bora and him. 5 appearances in a World Cup for Milutinovic and 3 now for Guus. It's just remarkable. On the other hand, let me tell you, Dutch, with all this success, have never won the World Cup, except once in history of football. They won 1 European Cup, 1988, with Van Basten, Gullit and Rijkaard. But their contribution, due to their type of personality, is remarkable, and they projected very well, and they deserve every credit that one can get.
Is that fly? We can put that flyer? No.
Speed and rolling.
Now, a quick word about Frank Free. I know yesterday John O'Neill actually paid tribute to Frank to say, look, we shouldn't forget the fact that Frank had done his best over 6 years, and obviously wasn't good enough to get us over the line. They brought in Guus. He admitted it was a gamble, because if we had failed, people could point the finger at the FFA and say, why did you make the change so late? Why didn't you do it a year and a half ago?
Don't answer that. So. Speed. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
So essentially, we had very similar personnel in playing for us, as I'm sure Frank would have possibly had a very similar side to the side that Guus actually had out in the park on Wednesday night, but with obviously with success, which is what we've been striving for so long. So Any sympathy for Frank who's being so close to getting us over the line, but actually it's who comes in and gets all the glory?
Look, this business has no sympathy. It's a business, and you can't sympathize with someone not achieving. Frank is a very nice person, good friend of mine, but it's huge difference between Hus and Frank. Real Madrid, Holland, Korea, many other clubs, multilingual, world experience at his feet, super arrogance, distant with the players, they know who is the boss. You cannot coach the team and be friend with the player. It is business, nothing else but business, and hopefully for young Frank, this is a good way to learn what is really business about, because Goose is not embarrassment for me, for anybody else to learn from. And I'm sure that Frank would have a good future in coaching, but you must distance yourself from the people that you are working with. Only one man can be in charge, not three. Only one man makes decisions, not three. And no one will sympathize with you. O'Neill can sympathize as much as he likes with Frank Farina, but wasn't O'Neill who sacked him? Definitely did. So if they thought that Frank Farina was doing a good job, why didn't they keep him there?
And obviously, back in '74, we drew one game and lost the other two. Do you believe that this current Socceroos outfit obviously we don't know who we're playing yet, but do you believe that we could actually maybe get on the board and actually win a game and may actually qualify for the second phase? Is that a realistic objective for Hus and the boys?
Look, the global game has narrowed. There is no any more unbeatable teams except one. Only one team in the world football today dominates, that's called Brazil. Everybody else can be beaten. Comparing to '74, West Germany was world champion. East Germany was undefeated for 18 months in Europe. Chile was a fantastic footballing team. But we went without our Pelé, without our Maradona, without our Cruyff, called Ray Bartz. The greatest player that this country ever produced did not participate in that tournament. All our style, all our systems were only based on Ray Bartz, because Ray Bartz needed 30 meters, 40 meters from the goal, and it's goals galore if you give him space. So he had such a big moral presence and influence on the rest of the team that is just absolutely unbelievable. Then you have people who had that type of personality, like great Peter Wilson, Max Tolson. Their presence was just absolutely phenomenal. Ray Richards, Alston. These people were a bit of comedians. They had fantastic sense of humor. Nothing they feared about, or any opponent they feared. But it's, of course, answering your question, can we do it? Of course that we can do it. With a general like that, in Hus, plus Harry at his best with Duka, the rest of the team maturing much more. That's a big boost for them. Now they are relaxed. They go to the World Cup with no pressure. And Wednesday night was do or die, and 20 million desperate people just waiting for that final kick. And no gift in the world can be given to the nation greater than that. So I would really like to express this. The Socceroos should be congratulated, giving this special gift to the nation. They didn't give to football, they gave to the nation, and they gave to one large continent. And I think that every Australian today is so proud of these boys, including myself. It's such a privilege and honor to be in the stadium that evening to watch that. It's a fascinating moment.
Now, obviously, Hus is signed up till the World Cup finals in June, in July when the final is. How do we best harness this man while we've got him here? Because I'm sure that we'd all like to see the lessons that he's teaching the players in the first team. We'd like to see that filtering down into all the areas of the Olyroos, the under 21s, all the way down to the youth development. Is there a way to do that? How do we best harness this genius of a coach that we have? How do we make sure that his lessons and his teachings are passed through to the children of the future?
Depends on him, really. He's 58. He's a sort of prime of his profession. That is age of maturity in the coaching terms. And depends, does he want to separate from the rest of the world, or does he want to come to Australia where he's a bit isolated? There's no doubt about it. If he wants to give to the nation something specific, special, money should not be object to pay for this man. I don't know how much Hus is interested in developing coaching and developing system for breeding young talented players. That is a role of the technical director and director of coaching, people who could pave the way, like Julia and people similar to that. And I'm sure that probably Hus, not knowing that Hus is a person who would decide would he want to coach the team or develop the players. I think he would like to be on a big stage, and the stage for him is where he is in a dressing room, in a stadium, calling shots. And that's what he would, as far as I'm concerned, that's what he would elect to do.
Obviously, he's still in charge of PSV. Long term, if he were to commit his future longer term to Australia, for maybe for another year or 2 years after the finals, do you think it's acceptable for us to have somebody who has another major interest at a club level as well as managing the Socceroos? Can he do both long term, do you think?
I doubted always that the man can have two minds. I thought you can do two jobs, but you can't. The mind is divided between two jobs. He proved everybody wrong. He did impossible. But I think he has to come in his age when he is going to be PSV or Australia, one or the other. Fortunate part for us is that most of our players are based overseas, but then he cannot do technical director or director of coaching job if he is not here permanently 52 weeks a year. And I doubt that a man of that caliber would come and isolate himself from football. If he's in charge of Australian team, he would be based in Europe. I'm 100% sure that would be his option.
And I must ask you one question about Johnny. Obviously, he was very fondly remembered the other night, and rightly so. I guess his spirit's up there looking down, and he's smiling right now because he knows that football has finally come of age in this country, that the country where he wanted it most and never achieved, and now we have it.
Look, Johnny and I had a lot of times together at the club level. We won grand final together at 71. We won Toyota Cup. Those days was international tournament in Tokyo together. We qualified together for a World Cup. We had a business together, John and I. We ran business at Rale Rasic, Johnny Warren Academy of Soccer. In those days at Jura. We have incredible relationship, family relationship. Johnny and I, Johnny knows, and he wrote in his book that I'm greatest friend of his family. And I still maintain that, and I'm privileged and honored. Johnny's legacy is post-football. What Johnny has given as an icon of football to football, that's beyond belief. That can't be compared, and I don't think so that any person would become as great icon as Johnny was. But in fairness to other players who played football, Bart's, who gave his life for Australia, because Bart's life was in danger after the match against Uruguay. Peter Wilson, Ray Richards, Alston, Aboni, then generation of footballer post our period, people who made enormous contribution on football, including Viduka, including many other people. You can say Charlie Yankos or Tony Henderson. You can say name so many of them. Paul Ocon, fantastic contribution. I think that federation has to put their heads together, rethink about everything, and give credit to people who love the sport, who have given enormous contribution. Keep these people together. That's my advice. Make them happy, make them important. Ronnie Lord is to me like a part of my family, and Ronnie and I played a few times against each other. But he's 76 years of age. Joe Marston is in his nearly 80s. These are the people who paved the way for this generation to enjoy. We should never forget that past, and I think honoring that would be the greatest move that Frank Lowy would make ever in sport, if he could bring past, present and future, create future for Australia to be not underdog, but to be, as Johnny said, I'm to win something. I'm to be champions of Asia. I'm to do well in a World Cup. I'm to win the World Cup, even including Brazil. Anyway, but Johnny's contribution to football cannot be compared. Off the field, icon will stay icon, and I don't think so there is other definition for Johnny.
A few words also as well about somebody who's behind the scenes, not on the field, Andre. Probably one of the greatest Socceroos supporters ever. He's here now. He was there the other night. He's been catching up with you guys and some of the other friends he's made down the years. Somebody that doesn't really get much attention, but he's somebody who's really committed to the cause, isn't he? A true football believer and a passionate Australian supporter. So what can you tell us about him?
That's what global sport is about. He created this passion in Hanover when he was 12, 13 and 14 years of age, playing in a jersey of Peter Wilson, number 3, that he created. He made it. Probably smart German couldn't afford to buy the jersey somewhere, but he created that image based on Peter Wilson. Then he got emotionally involved over the years. Now he's too emotional when he talks about Socceroos, like on Sunday at our 32nd anniversary. He spoke with so much passion, so much emotion, so much pleasure that gives him kick, and he doesn't really mind how much he spends. But when he comes to Australia, he's a friend of ours, he's part of our family. We all provide for him whatever he needs, and I think that's what is a sport about. But apart from Andre, there is another person. Our mascot is 90 in January, Jim Skane. Fascinating man, supporter of Tottenham, great friend of Kevin Keegan, great friend of Terry Venables. His sense of humor, his mind at 90 are just absolutely incredible. So this man traveled from Cessnock to be on Sunday to share the evening with us. These are so-called special people who feel, and Jim rang me up, he said, do you think that I can get ticket to go to 206 to Germany? And quite seriously, he's considering to go with his one of his members of the family to the 206 in Germany. It's an Englishman with English background, feeling so much for green and gold. Frank Lowy, John O'Neill, get him a ticket, buy him a ticket, send him to Germany. That would be greatest human contribution. I don't need that, but give to Jim Skane, and because they are special people. There is nothing in the world that can be compared with the feelings and emotions of these people, and they make this football special game. They make it to fill your heart and soul, and they provide it for us, and they are fantastic people. That suit that I have there, that's a Jim suit that he wore in the World Cup 1974. Ever since, our relationship has been more than family relationship. And if someone calls you to say, can you organize ticket for me to go to Germany 206, it's a good opportunity for Frank to do it.
I'm sure obviously you have so many memories of Germany yourself for obvious reasons. It'll be an emotional time for you, looking back at the old days, and obviously to be part of the new dawn of Australian football, shall we say now?
I'm a bit different in a way. I have great media relationships with Germany. I have many approaches from Germany already since we qualified to do media work over there in Germany and so on. Of course, that would be emotion, especially if we could play in Olympic Stadium, where Berlin was Olympic Stadium, where we played last match against Chile. Would bring special emotion to me if Australia is playing in Berlin, because that would bring that 32 years back, and it wouldn't be a better gift than that. So this is why I'm trying to emphasize that past and present and future for us is so important to link and to feel like one happy family. And that's what is football about, and this is why we call football. This gift here this morning coming from outside of Burke, a man I never met in my life. It's fascinating that you see and meet people of that nature, and people who called me, I don't know who calls so many interviews, like yesterday, 34 interviews. It makes you proud, and you can't have any other feeling except being that proud part of that green and gold country, which is the best country in the world. There's nothing that can be compared with that.
Final question, Rale. Was there a sense on Wednesday night that almost the burden of so many years of being the last team to do it was lifted? Was it like a weight off your shoulders on Wednesday night when they finally broke the curse, as it were, that Johnny said there was a curse?
I'm very sort of introverted in a sense sometimes of my feelings. My feelings don't always give you exactly how I feel. But it's not called relief. It's called privilege that the team could deliver in front of me, in front of 20 million, and in front of all those people who call this Volks game. All of a sudden, they will change their mind and probably interpreted that word Volk in much more respectful way and manner. One thing is very important here. Wherever you come from, you should be proud, but honor this beautiful land that is formula of mine. And national anthem of Australia is special anthem for me. And people who did not respect national anthem of Uruguay, they should be embarrassed. They are not Australians. They don't belong to our country. And I thought that was a bit unnecessary. And so I can't be grateful enough. I can't express my gratitude, feeling towards being part of that great nation. And that's the greatest day in a life, not selfishness or something like that feeling. 32 years is long time. And we would be so much better off, as I repeat again, if we done on so many occasions. But no one was who's Hinnik. That was a special man who knew how to do it. Good luck to the man.
Wonderful, Rale. I appreciate that. Fantastic. Thanks ever so much.